Is a 2024 Porsche Macan T in silver, and we have Sport Text interior for the seating with 911 wheel design. So it's going to look a lot more sporty than just the base model. Plus we get the chrono package because it's the T, so you're shedding 0.2 of a second 0 to 60. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over comparable rivals, pros and cons, and the problem that I have with the Porsche Macan. Starting with 7.9 inches of clearance because we have the steel suspension. Option the air suspension and you'll go down to 7.3 inches and as high as 8.9 inches. So the sports car will be lifted up as a traditional small SUV. 4-point LED headlights and daytime runnings that integrate into the gloss gray materials, grille pattern design in the center, and underneath the hood houses the 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder with 261 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque paired to a 7-speed PDK automatic transmission. Reaching 60 at 5.8 seconds, this is going to have more horsepower and torque than the BMW X3, but if you go to the X3, that's going to have over 380 horsepower, and it's going to be quicker in the 0 to 60s. As for Mercedes, this is going to have more horsepower, the same torque. For Audi, you're getting 60 horsepower more with this and a second quicker in those 0 to 60s, and you're still achieving 19 mpgs for the city and 25 mpgs for the highway with these upgraded 19-inch 911 turbo design wheels. Black brake calipers housing 4 pistons in the front. Optioning this over the GTS is going to be 2 seconds slower in the quarter mile at 14.7 seconds, but you're getting the same towing capacity at 4,409 pounds, and you're getting a better payload here because you're nearly getting 1,400 pounds. The side trim has the base sills, so you get the Macan T standard, the gloss gray on the side view mirrors, gloss black around the window housing, and gloss black roof rail. So it keeps that sport heritage because, again, it's a sports car that's lifted up. The only problem that I have with the Porsche starting off with is when you start entertaining features. You can go into the BMW X3 and you're getting more performance. Therefore, you may want to consider between the 4 trims to see which one will tick the box better, because the GTS gets as low as 4.1 seconds 0 to 60. And if you tick the box for the Macan S, it's going to be better than the X3, and the 0 to 60s is only a few tenths of a second slower than the GTS, which to me is kind of the sweet spot because you're getting over 380 horsepower for this vehicle. So when you're thinking the size of it, that's what I mean by the actual power. And as for Mercedes, it will be the same horsepower, but this is going to be a little bit quicker, and obviously it's going to still be quicker than the Audi. The rear gets the 4-point LED taillights with the clear lens and the light bar. The lower gets the quad exhaust tip, somewhat of a diffuser, front and rear parking sensors, and we have the surround view camera. Power liftgate going into 17.2 cubic feet of storage. Because this is not air suspension, it will set up a little bit higher for the clearance. You get a storage nook and a 12-volt charger underneath the floor. Gets a donut spare tire. When you move this privacy cover, if you're tall like me, I'm over 6 foot, you could just easily split fold the back seats at a 60-40 split, increasing cargo to over 50 cubic feet. This is the Turbo 4. We need to go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. Eight-way power seat adjustment is standard, and heated front seats. We get the Porsche logo in the headrest, memory for the driver, and we get a storage compartment for both of the front. Headroom and legroom. The Porsche Macan has a lot of space for the footwell in the front. You can add carbon fiber in through here. There isn't any pass-through. We get the carbon fiber and the Sport Tech that's going to be on the shifter and on the 3-spoke steering wheel. That is all extra. The dashboard will have the contrast stitching. You get the gloss black elements, the satin aluminum, and the infotainment screen is gesture with touch, pinch, all the goodies. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse and we have a surround view camera, which all you got to do is either go with all these different camera angles, or you could go the top angle. You can also do it in the front or the rear. Dual climate control settings is standard. The key fob for the Porsche Macan T. This will slide up, covering the cup holders. It is going to be sport derived. Slides back with a little bit of storage and a QI wireless charger and USB ports. Paddle shifts, multi-function on the steering wheel with the driving mode, which is good because you could just toggle through here to make it quicker for your everyday liking. You can also go through an array of information for the driver, including the turn-by-turn navigation. Auto dimming rear view mirror, and a large pano moonroof that goes to the back seats. The door panel will configure into the dash with the satin aluminum and the gloss black elements. It's going to be more sport derived pretty much everywhere. Upgraded Bose sound system and a large storage pocket with a flask holder in the front. Headroom is going to be tight for somebody that's over 6 foot. Same thing with leg space. I have the seat pushed back a little bit. In other Macan reviews, you'll see you can have a little bit more space. Storage behind both of the front seats, air vents, heated rear seats, USB ports, armrests with cup holders, and the door is going to have the same materials that's found in the front. The gloss black, satin aluminum, all sport derived, and a deep and wide storage pocket. The floor isn't completely flat. I actually have to kind of lift up like I'm standing to get into the center. The rails are not pushed up enough. I'm going to be sharing feet, butt, and shoulder space, especially because these seats are pushed back a little bit more so than normal. Headroom, though, isn't too bad with the pano or even without a pano. 261 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Chrono package is basically given to you. You're shedding the 0.2 of a second for the 0 to 60. And the quarter mile isn't bad. It's under 15 seconds, so it's still pretty quick for your everyday drive, getting your feet wet basically with the brand and not going with the base. Kind of the sweet spot will be between this and the Macan S. The GTS is going to be almost $20,000 more, but you're getting a lot more power underneath the hood. Plus the 0 to 60 goes as low as 4.1 seconds. As for comparable rivals like BMW, Mercedes, they're going to be slower at a base trim comparing to this. The nice thing here though is even if you go AMG against this, you're still getting more horsepower. Here, it's going to be the same torque and it's actually faster than Mercedes. BMW is kind of that segment where it kind of flies underneath the radar. They make some very quick vehicles. Turn radius, and we have it in Sport Plus. So you know what that means? We're going to use the PDK and it's about 2 lanes. Here we go. You still get some of the excitement that comes in. We don't have any exhaust or active exhaust, so it's going to be a little bit more settled. The steering feels good because it's a little bit more firm, but it's still soft for a daily use. And you have great ground clearance. It's going to take me to some pros and cons, and starting off with the pros on the Macan T is you're getting the chrono package. You can option air suspension or keep it standard. Either way, you're getting more clearance than the top tier GTS. So if you're looking for a more comfortable ride, you can do so. With Porsche, you can pretty much customize the exterior and interior to make this a lot more sporty or a little bit more luxurious. So I like that because when you get into other rivals at this tier base, they don't typically give you so many options. On a Con, there is a lot of options, which like the steering wheel, the gear lever, these are all separate entities in Porsche. So don't think that it's all one derived setup. The same thing with the seats. So when you're thinking packages, they have a ton of them, but you do have to tick the box for each one of them to customize it towards your liking. Another pro about the Macan is it has a airy feel in the interior. The back seat's going to be a little bit tight, especially if you put it back, but that's why they have the Cayenne, and you have a substantial amount of cargo. The big problem that I have with the Macan T is you're paying the extra money where you can get the base and add the chrono package, and it's actually going to be a little bit cheaper, and you're getting the same 0 to 60 numbers. One of my favorite things about the Porsche though is you have where you can spool up the turbo and it will just liven up. So we're going to show you that in just a second. We're running down in time, 9, 8, 7. It takes a few seconds. It's a 20-second delay, and here we go. That was with it spooled up. So it's not gonna throw you back. It's more of a comfortable and day-in ride. Even with upgraded wheels, you don't feel any of the imperfections in the road, so I like that. Getting up onto the interstate, still composed, soaking up pretty much anything that I'm going over. But the road noise will start filtering in, and that is to be expected because this is basically a sports car picked up with huge wheels. Porsche was one of the first to entertain giving such a concept of a vehicle that you're getting a smaller package with a lot of performance underneath it. Now they pretty much option all types of vehicles to go to this route, but Porsche entering into these prices is kind of unheard of also, because you're thinking around a mid 60 to 70 grand price and you're getting a Porsche. Yes, it's an inline 4-cylinder turbo, and some people may say, well, it's not a true Porsche engine, but it has more performance than Audi. It will be faster than base model Mercedes, BMW, and Genesis is kind of a sweet spot vehicle. But once you start ticking options, then you need to start thinking about what you're spending, because is it the T that you're looking for, the S, or the GTS where you get the most bang for your buck? Because when you're at a mid 80 grand price and you're getting 4.1 0 to 60, it changes the ball game quite a bit. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Porsche of Clearwater for giving us this 2024 Porsche Macan T for our car review.